So the ChatGPT Plan a Weave was pretty popular. So I thought, why don't we compare some AI alternatives? So this time I opened up a conversation with Gronk and had it plan a weave. So there are some similarities right off the bat. Gronk really wanted stripes also with the same kind of four colors, A, B, C, D, but this time it's red, blue, green, yellow. So its color selection was a little bit different. I'm excited to try these different colors. I was out of the same red I used last time, but I have this great burgundy. It's in a 6.2 cotton instead of an 8.4, but they look about the same width, so I'm gonna go with it. After that, I also decided that we were gonna follow everything it said. It wants me to put this 8.4 cotton in an 8 dent reed. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. It gave more detailed instructions right off the bat, which I can share right here. So you can see the colors it wanted, the order it wanted us to weave, how it wants us to use the pickup stick, how large the floats it wants to be, and how often it wants the floats. It was a lot more particular about what it wanted and when it wanted it. So I'm actually going to say Gronk seems to know a little bit more about planning a weave than ChatGPT did right off the bat, but it doesn't mean its design is going to be better. So let's go ahead and see how its design plays out. As you've seen with the ChatGPT version, it gave me a lot of options. So I kind of had a dual scarf. One side, the pattern would have been quite lovely. The other side, it was just really clustered and not very pretty. I'm kind of worried that's what's going to happen with this one because it does actually only want one line rows, much like the original ChatGPT. So let's see how this goes. I'm going to go ahead and warp up, and our colors are just going to be red, blue, green, yellow in that exact order. Let's get started.
All right, so we did 3 passes of plain weave. So now we're going to go ahead and put our pickup stick in. And it wants us to pick up green and red only while the heddle's in neutral position. And since we're doing the pickup stick with the heddle in neutral, I'm going to pull it out between passes because if you put up the pickup stick behind, it just doesn't really pick up the threads very well for you to make a good size shed. Let's just go ahead and pick these up. Got all our greens and reds. I'm going to pass through with our red. And then we are going in the downshift. We'll do 1, 3, 2 neutral. Then on the 4th pass again, let's go ahead and pick up these threads, just the greens and reds. Mm. Then the upshed. Oops. 2. And actually, it wants us to change colors roughly every 10 passes. I think I've already done more than 10 passes, but let's just try our best and do our third pass, and then we'll go ahead and do our pickup stick pattern again. Beautiful. Pink, red. So I won't lie. I feel like I'm trying very hard not to beat down because this warp is just set too far apart, in my opinion. I always use 12 ends per inch with this particular thread, sometimes even 15 or 16. I don't know. And that's usually how I get a balanced weave. Usually when I'm doing a plain weave with this, I do the 12 ends per inch, and my weaves come out really nice. But Gronk wanted 10 ends per inch, so that's what, or 8 ends per inch, 8 ends per inch. So that's what we're doing, and we are seeing how it comes out. And then the upshed. So I feel like I have to beat down very gently so that it's not completely warp heavy. Because it did describe that it wanted a balanced weave. And you're definitely not getting a balanced weave with this set, in my opinion. But I'm going to go with it. My other thing is when I don't beat down, it looks like it's very hard to see the pattern. So I'm kind of torn there about which one's best. Should I do this? I do feel like it gave clearer instructions about what it wanted, but also with those clear instructions comes a little less leeway for me to say, this is what you really wanted. I do think it's interesting they actually picked fairly similar color patterns and threading patterns. The difference is one chose charcoal gray and this one chose green. In the coloring and the threading pattern, that really is it. And the ChatGPT did not give ends per inch, whereas this one did. So I was able to choose that. Good. So I'll just go ahead and get that thread real quick so that you catch that selvage. Sometimes you just have to manipulate around the ends to make sure you get that last thread. I'm going to advance my warp in just a minute here, but let's go ahead and take a look at what we have. It's definitely interesting looking, to say the least. Okay, so you can kind of see what we have here. And we're changing roughly every 10 passes or so. I'm not sticking super hard to that just because I want to kind of just keep the color blocks similar size. So you can kind of see the path there, the float there. And you're picking up a little bit where you can see the floats popping up, just kind of going over all of the yellow, all of the blue, and over here, yep, over all of the yellow, all of the blue under. I think it could look interesting. I am just worried it's going to be way too drapey with how far apart this is set. I kind of want to beat it down harder, but you could see anywhere I've kind of beat it down any harder, you lose the stripes of the green and the yellow, and even a little bit of the blue, if I even beat it down just a little bit harder. So I've kind of been giving it a pretty gentle beat. So let's keep going, check back in a little while, and see how it's going.
Okay, so I've been going for a little while, and it's pretty hard to get a consistent beat with how wide set this warp is. I won't lie, so far I'm absolutely hating this pattern, and I'm not sure if it's the set that's making me hate it, or the pattern itself, or the way it's going. It just, oh, I don't like it at all. I feel like if it was set closer, maybe it would look better to me. We'll see how it looks finished, but right now I have to decide if I want to just do this checkerboard kind of look on the ends and do it for about 8 inches each side and do the rest kind of solid in the middle, because it did give those options, but right now I really don't like the way this looks. We'll keep going and I'll see what I decide. So I'm about to wet finish this, and so far I hate it. I just, it looks so spread out, and I just don't think it's thick enough or anything. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, I love the blue a lot because I love blue, but the object itself I'm not in love with. So let's just keep going. It is a little bit shorter for a scarf, but again, I have a tendency to make scarves a little bit shorter because I'm not very tall. But we'll see. Let's keep going. Okay, so we finished our scarf that is designed by Gronk. So after it was done, I do like the colors a lot more. I think it tightened up quite a bit when I wet and dried finished it. I put it in the dryer, and I do like the float pattern. The thing is, I still wish it had a closer set. It is very drapey. Like, it is just so drapey and flexible and light, and that's great. But I find I don't like something when I can hang it in front of my face and I can actually see through it. Like, I can tell what's on the other side of this scarf pretty easily. So it's a little too spaced out for me still. I probably would have been happier with the drape at 10 ends per inch. Not sure if you can still see. Yeah, you can still see. See, those are quite large gaps. And it's not that large everywhere, but if I do a little bit of pushing, you can see that anywhere in the scarf. It's just, that's how large the gaps are due to the style of how it's set. So where I beat it down harder in some areas, that can still see, you can still see. And it's just the set. So if I did it again, I don't think I would go with anything less than 10. I usually do 12 ends per inch for this fabric. And if I'm doing a twill, I'll do up to 16. So doing something that was only 8 ends per inch for this particular fabric was all very much on the light end. I'm amazed it's not even more drapey than it is, and it really is very, very drapey, very breezy. So if that's what you want, it will work. It's still a scarf. Although Gronk did say you could use this for a hand towel. I was like, yeah, if someone handed me this hand towel, I'd be like, oh, a shop rag. Because it's just too wide set. Like, I want to be able to look at it. But I'm surprised that the colors actually do look better. When I was weaving it the whole time, I was just not liking it. I do think a large part of that was the set, because the flow pattern is actually quite fun, and you can see it in the blue. Yeah, you see it pop up boop, right here and there and here and there, and it's cute, and I like it. You can see it with the red. It's not anything drastic or drastic. I think it would be more noticeable again if the set was a little bit tighter, but it does offer a little bit of texture. So let's go ahead and compare that to our ChatGPT scarf. So as you can see, I chose the set for this, and I set it at 12 ends per inch, which is pretty normal. And I think the pattern for this would have shown a lot better with this set. But also looking at it, I actually think this scarf with both patterns or both designs would have come out nicer if I used this blue, because I just love this blue. And I'm like, you know what? If I had put that there, because those reds are almost the same. They're not exactly, but they're pretty similar. Boom. Like, yeah. So I really like this blue. But all in all, I actually think my overall feelings for this scarf are about the same as if I had done this part of the pattern from ChatGPT. The texture, it is a slightly different pattern, but how noticeable it is about the same. It's very subtle the entire time, so you notice there's some texture, but you're not really picking up on a set pattern. At least I'm not, unless I look at it really closely. Whereas like this, I absolutely loved. And I think it probably would have been more like this if I had done a much, much tighter set of at least 10, probably 12 ends per inch. I think the pattern would have, it wouldn't have been this exact pattern, but it would have stood out like this. So that being said, I had to give less prompts to Gronk to get the weave pattern. It understood what I wanted, and it created something. I had to kind of walk ChatGPT through it, and even then, it gave me a lot of creative licensing. It was like, here's some general things, do that. And that's why we have this dual pattern here. Whereas Gronk basically understood the assignment. It gave me how to set it. It gave me the colors in the order. It gave me how many picks per inch to do. It said do 10, do 10, do 10, do 10, do 10. And every fourth pass needs to be with the pickup stick. So that's what I did. And because of that, it's very consistent, and it set the entire pattern. Would I make changes? Yes. But if you're really just like, I want it to create something for me, Gronk did better. But if you want something that allows you to make corrections and doesn't tell you what to set, this one gives you some options and you could choose from. So ChatGPT gave more options. Gronk said, do this. Depends on what you want. But it was interesting to see what weaving with AI kind of does and how they can create patterns for different types of looms. And thinking of the parameters I gave it, it stuck within them perfectly. And it's a fun scarf. It's a great scarf. Honestly, the only thing I would say is it is very hard to see that green. You can only see it in some angles, so it's very subtle. The yellow is a bit more noticeable. But the green, all in all, it's just very subtle throughout, and you can kind of notice something's a little off. And then when you look, you're like, oh, it's green. So, all in all, it was a fun experiment. Not sure if you guys want to try it or not, but thanks for watching. Go ahead, like, subscribe, and share with your friends. Catch you in the next one.